really well. It has a double green arrow. And the other
Yes.
ones are just slightly above average. So, just quickly looking through all of them. You're actually playing solo queue with one stack against two stacks. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
I think I was with a 4 stack in one of them as well. Surprised it didn't force me into a different role, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The game you did really well was with the 4 stack. Yeah. So yeah, Veil, Blotter, and Nullifier. Very interesting. Um. Okay, so I mean, I think it's probably best not to look at the game that you did really well because
Yeah.
it's
No.
probably more one-sided. And now the
Yeah.
last game that you played,
Yes.
you were in a 2 stack with another 2 stack. Okay, yeah, this one looks pretty interesting to look at. So you had your buddy was playing Brood. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call you on Skype so I can do a screen share.
Yeah. Right. Let me just load that up as well. And then I'll just mute the Skype.
Yeah. We can keep talking on Discord. Oops, it's gonna hear it from my phone, but yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So, sharing screen. Okay.
There we go.
Alright, so okay. First we start off by talking a little bit about the lineups. This game was fairly recently, I guess. About a week ago. Do you remember?
Yes.
Let's say the laying stage, some stuff.
I think it was a tri-lane, I want to say. I believe it was a tri-lane, and it was a bit... Well, I coped with it a bit better than before, than I usually do, but I think I still had some trouble because it was a tri-lane, but they just kept using the combo with Tusk, where they just send all of the heroes under the tower and just kill me there. But I think I skilled Blink early just to try and dodge a few of those. I was able to get a kill, actually, a few of the times that they did it, just so it was kind of a 1-for-1, so it wasn't as bad. It was going okay, actually. I didn't actually think it was too bad. They were getting all of their experience sapped. I was gaining more than they were at a point. But eventually I just couldn't get any items. So I think it was up to the point with boots, maybe? Maybe a bit further on. That's the only thing I'm not sure on. Oh, I got Veil.
Yeah, then you got. I mean, we can actually look at the graphs.
Yeah.
The items. So yeah, you got the Veil, the Dress, the Veil, the Orchid, and then you went for the Nullifier. Yeah, it looks like they weren't farming that well either, to be honest. Sven didn't have a beginning for a while. I guess the SF was having a pretty good game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, let's just hop in the replay.
Yeah.
One thing to mention is, I mean, just looking at heroes, they do have like better team fight because they have. I mean, all their heroes kind of, deal some AoE damage, have some disables. When I look at your heroes, you have the Brute, which doesn't really want to team fight necessarily.
No.
And yeah, Wind Ranger also is kind of more of a pick-off hero, more of a split-push hero than going head-on in fights. And yeah, the aforementioned thing, like they have so much magic like so many magical spells. On the bright side, the only thing they have that actually goes through BKB is the Tusk ultimate.
Yeah.
Nothing else does. Yeah.
I found that Tusk was mainly the biggest problem this game. Not the Sven, not the Centaur with his ult, not the Shadow Fiend, even though he was pretty big. It was the Tusk. The Tusk kept making everything happen. It's just the snowball, really.
Yeah.
Once it got to the point where Sven was able to, like, well, he'd actually farmed a bit. He was able to stun while I was just like, well, even though I'd blinked, I think I'm not exactly sure if I was able to, but it was just I just fed after that.
Yeah, I mean they have a lot of stun lock, that's for sure. But this is where again the only thing that actually goes through is the punch. So I mean even the snowball stun, like it gets blocked by BKB. Centaur.
I should have got a BKB rather than.
Yeah, I think if both you and I mean some games are just like this, like where BKB is really good if you get it on like 3 cores. So I mean the Brute had one, but yeah you didn't, and Windranger also didn't have one. But if the two of you also had BKBs, yeah, you could be looking at a very different game. Because it really kind of. I mean, the Sven still hurts, and like we mentioned, the Tusk is still kind of scary, especially with this build. But then the 3 other heroes, you can kind of ignore them, like Shadow Fiend.
That was pretty much the way of the game. The Shadow Fiend, even though he was a bit big, he wasn't as scary. I don't think it was mainly that Sven later on, but I think we'll be able to check it. I'm not 100% because I haven't watched it since.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
I made a few mistakes. I made a fair few, so I wasn't quite happy with myself this game.
I mean, we'd be surprised if you didn't make any mistake. Then we're wasting our time.
Sometimes I was just making a pass thinking, why did I do that? Why?
Right. Señorita Santiago. Is that from Brooklyn 99?
I wish. Yeah, no, I do love that show though.
Yeah, it's a cool show. Alright. Yeah, let's go ahead and put your fog. We can look at your perspective a bit.
I was watching the Bad and Go, but yeah. I was like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of just, yeah. I went the other way.
D. Yeah.
D. I don't know how he survived that, to be honest.
So you're still on the locked camera here, huh?
Yeah, it's I'm struggling with that. I'm just trying to think of how I can break that habit.
That habit break, yeah. So, actually let's keep it here because it is kind of important to, even in this trialing scenario. So the thing is that like right now you kind of see the heroes, but for example every time you back off a little bit you don't. So
yeah, it's I just didn't want to risk getting stunned by the CM.
Yeah, of course, but that's the thing though, like you don't actually see the CM, and
right.
And that's where like the camera can have a, if you have it like this, it's much safer because you keep track of her. It's something you notice, like, let's see if actually. So here they go, and you managed to get the blink. Oh yeah, they just commit with a bunch of stuns. You guys get some return kills. Like for the snowball, it's slightly less relevant because it's instant cast and the range is very high. But generally, like just from seeing how they're like walking around on the lane, you can kind of predict, you know, when they want to go on you. You can kind of read it. This is something that like you should avoid doing because it makes it easier for the enemy to read, but it's also good if you can see it. Like for example, basically what it boils down to is this, for example, the Crystal Maiden, like the Frostbite range, it's this big, right? Now,
yeah. So you can kind of tell when they're gonna like run towards like this.
Yeah, like this. He's running towards you, try to get you, doesn't work, so then he runs back. So see, this is why it's bad. It's not very good. What he's doing is because he's like generally out of range.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let's see here actually. This is kind of a different scenario. Just get snowball on. So here you blink the max range, which is good, but the snowball just takes them so far, and you're alone.
Yeah.
Still the center of dice. I mean, maybe if Yablon was there a little bit earlier, could have saved you, but yeah. But anyway, so yeah, what I meant is, again, like the Crystal Maiden is generally staying out of range, and then when trying to go on you, starts running towards you, and then it's really obvious to tell, like that she's going for the frostbite. You just back off. That's why good players are gonna dance around the edge of this frostbite range all the time, so you can't actually tell, like, because you know they could be going on you at any moment, and it's harder to tell. So in that sense, if you have your camera on them, you see how they're moving. Against good players it won't work that well, but against these guys it's gonna let you kind of pretty much read their movement. And have an idea of when they want to go on you, when they don't. So this is I mean, you haven't done bad so far. Like you're 3-2, even though you're against the tri lane. Like that's okay, but it's not really great either, obviously, right? Because you are dying, and those kills are on the CM.
Them something. Yeah.
Like 2 of the 3 are on the CM, which is not that great. So the thing is, there's like an unusual situation. Like usually you're in a 1v1, 2v1, maybe 2v2, and this time you're not. So you gotta think, how could you like adapt with your items to have a better time in this situation. Now, here you play this one. Let's actually go back again to highlight this moment. So how come the other times, like for example here, they snowballed you, you blinked, and you know they still reached you because so the snowball range is I mean you have to do some math. No, the range is massive, but how far it actually reaches. So it's
okay. So it's not counting the end point.
675 speed, and that's how long can it travel? It doesn't actually say here, or maybe if you press Alt. Because
I always find the snowball a bit confusing.
Yeah, it doesn't actually say in the spell. We're gonna check here.
No.
Let's go hero grid.
Tusk is always a hero I struggle against anyway. I really hate playing against Tusk because I know how good he can be for team play.
Yeah, here you go, max chase duration. This should be set in the game. I'm not sure why it's not.
It's I actually don't know.
I figured it's somewhere there, but it's still good to actually see it. So max chase duration, and then it shows you here. The speed is this, chase up to 3 seconds. So this is the max range, 2025. That's a lot of range. Obviously, that's more than your blink. But it's not instant, so you are running actually. So the blink is 1.3. And let's say you were right next to them. The blink is actually like just about 2 seconds of like it takes for the snow to cover your blink distance.
Right. Okay.
So even if you're standing right next to him, you blink and then he immediately starts chasing you with the snow. It's still gonna take him 2 seconds to reach you, and in those 2 seconds you're walking. So already, and right now you're still by Orbital Venom, but your base MS is about 300. So even being right next to him in melee range, and then blinking and walking, and he lets the snowball go immediately, you're actually almost escaping already. Now, how come? Let's remember this moment, 524, and let's go back to the previous one, where they actually got you. I think it was right here. Okay, this was some buggy animation, but yeah. Okay, so this was the moment, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one.
So how come here it felt like they caught you so easily after the blink?
Yeah.
And that's because first you kind of ran towards them.
Rather than away.
Yeah, and then you blinked, but because you were on the left and you're blinking to the right, you see this distance actually...
Oh, right. Okay.
You're not going directly away from the snowball in the first place. You're kind of going towards it for like
it
this.
Would have been better to go into the trees.
I mean, in this case, I think you're not really, because they will still catch you in the trees, right? Like even if the snowball doesn't hit.
Being in a bad position.
But yeah, because you're on the left, that means you're. Because imagine you were standing here instead, right?
Yeah.
It's equally far away, but suddenly from here you can blink all the way here.
And that would have been further away from the snowball.
Yeah, and then
if you
right, you're probably fine. Because yeah, so here they catch you rather easily, and okay, you don't have boots, but then we go back to the other moment, which was here, 520 something.
524.
524. Yeah, I mean that's just leading up to it. So now we see the difference in those two attempts. So here, the moment he, I mean, this is coincidence. It's a coincidence, right? You didn't actually expect it, I think, but the moment he clicked it, you were already happening to walk back. Yeah. So.
And then blinked as well.
Then you blinked, yeah, and you see it's not even close actually.
It stopped.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why it stopped, because it went out of the range.
It was. I mean, they traveled for 3 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big difference is that here you were already walking away as he was casting it. And here you were actually walking towards them as he was casting it. And then also the fact that, yeah, the other thing is just basically the blink trajectory. Like you, here you're blinking kind of, yeah, like you turn, it's still away from the stall. It's still not a straight line away from it. Like if you want it to be really, really safe, then you just always blink, like you'd blink in the same path. You'd blink here somewhere.
So in a straight line.
But I mean, in this case, like this blink was fine because they couldn't reach you anyway, and you were like brought them under the tower, so that's good. But yeah, so this is why it's important to, and again, I'm gonna go back to see your player perspective in this moment. That's why I mentioned I don't think you necessarily saw it coming, because okay, I hear your camera is still locked, so you don't actually see them. So, yeah, you were running. Again, it was kind of accidental, but it is the right thing. And basically, the thing to highlight here is when you are facing this Stranding, like that's how you should think. Like at any given moment, he might snowball me. So after every last hit, you automatically start running back and
start running back in that line away.
Yeah, exactly. You're prepared. Like if he snowballs me right now, like I should be able to make it if I'm running, right? So that's why you want to always make that situation. And now again, like good, like really good players will also know about this. And for example, what the Tusk can do to counterplay that is go for you just as you're going for a last hit, because then you're turning towards them. Yeah. And
that makes sense.
At that point, it's kind of a bit of a like game of reaction, like who reacts quicker, do you manage to get the blink off in time and stuff like that. But this is the most important thing. Yeah. Now, the other thing is that I was mentioning is item build, how you could adapt that to your yeah, this unusual aim situation, because the items you're getting is kind of like what we talked about earlier, and those are fine in a, like a 1v1 situation and whatnot, but this creep was a waste of mana, by the way, but yeah, so because there's now 3 heroes, and if you think about how a lot of situations are going, I don't know if you die more times, we'll just keep watching a bit. It's it. So yeah, for example, here you get the robe. I mean, normally you get the robe for the extra right click damage, so you can last hit better. Here you actually find, but then kind of walk back into them. But so if you see how all these situations are going on the lane, is basically them like diving under the tower, using other spells, you know, just about killing you, then maybe losing one here in the process, etc. Now, what would actually be the difference maker? Because the 6 damage doesn't really change anything there, right? Like if you had plus 6 damage or not, it doesn't change anything. Like here, who dies under the tower? And what would change it is obviously having more HP. So, no, the first and foremost thing is buying raindrops.
Right. Okay.
Completely changes things. Like the snowball damage is over. It's 120. 2 allies, it's like 180. So you're getting the full benefit there of the raindrop blocking 120 magic damage. That's, you know, it ends up being 120 extra HP. It's a lot.
Right.
So that's the first thing. Raindrops, they're a good idea anyway against a lot of these heroes. It's good to have raindrops against the Seth, against Centaur, against Tusk even if he gets farmed.
Ones that do use more spells, so that's when the HP would actually pop more often. Right.
Yeah, okay. It really depends on the situation. Like when you're mid, you generally get them always at least once, and depending on how the game is going, some games I end up rebuying them like 2 or 3 times just because there's a lot of constant fights going on. End up running out, but you know, because the raindrops I'm getting kills and stuff, so it's worth it to just buy them again. And obviously Queen of Pain is definitely a hero that benefits from the mana regen as well. So
yeah.
And now the other thing is the power treads. So like I mentioned, you can I mean, okay, first there's another point, like when to actually go for the treads. They're good for basically snowballing, helping you dominate the lane, etc. That's obviously not really going to happen here because you're against 3 heroes.
Yeah.
So already like part of the motivation to get the power treads kind of not really there.
Yeah.
But there is a different reason you could go for them, which would be again to tank up a little bit for the strength, basically to make sure that when they do dive you actually have a bit more HP to work with, can tank a couple more spells, maybe 2 of them die, maybe even survive, maybe the Avalon comes in time, stuff like that. And to make that happen, it would obviously make a lot more sense to buy the belt, the belt of strength.
Yeah, belt of strength, and then finish that off. Right, so it'd just be the normal path for that. Yeah,
and then you still get the treads. And then of course, I mean, the other approach, like I mentioned, probably what I would do is because looking at this game in general, again, like the treads is a lot about, you know, if you think you're going to be snowballing, you're going to be in this position where you could kind of like jump people and right click them to death. That's where, you know, the treads is good because the attack speed. Now in this game I don't really see that happening too much because who can you really jump, right? Like you can't really jump the Sven. No. You want to kite him. The Centaur is too tanky as ult. The Tusk can just, you know, turn on you with snowball and stuff.
Yeah, and then punch when he's got 6 as well.
Yeah, the Shadow Fiend, he's gonna have a Yules. So really the only hero it's kind of I want is the Crystal Maiden, but you can kill her without treads as well because it's Crystal Maiden. Yeah, so
which I've been doing at the start of this game anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where probably this game I would think about just keeping the brown boots and going for the next item. Just getting the next item quicker, which, you know, will be the Veil. Which the Veil is definitely a good idea here because, again, it's cheap armor, which you really need against. Because for Queen of Pain, there's basically, 3 options for armor. You have the Shivas and the AC, which are for late game. Shivas, you know, being better most of the time. But until you get there, the only kind of mid-range armor item that's good is Veil. Of course, there are stuff like you could get a casual medallion, maybe against the Clinks or something, but those are kind of niche cases.
They're specific, situational again.
Yeah. The Veil is generally the solid option. They have some decent physical damage. Makes sense to go for the Veil because it also gives you really good stats. And that's again also where the null talismans would help you a little bit on the lane. Obviously, right, they give you some strength. I mean, it's not the biggest difference. Like Circlet is +2, Talisman +3 strength, but it helps a little bit. I think between the talismans and the range drops, you'll already be fine in terms of surviving more easily these kind of dives. Being able to turn a little bit better.
Yeah. I did feel a bit more confident when I did have the Veil later on, but if I had that earlier, it would have been a lot. Yeah. So I would have been better just skipping the treads at that point.
Yeah. It's all about like kind of, recognizing what you want to get done with those items. The other thing is like the treads are good for, they're kind of good for farming early on, but not the best really, because think of it this way, like if you're farming with mostly jungle camps and creep waves, you're farming those with your Scream of Pain, so obviously having a mana regen is better. And the treads are only really good for, again, games where you're snowballing. There's maybe some right click buff on your team. You're gonna go for the damage talent, so you're gonna right click more. You could farm ancients with the treads, more attack speed and stuff like that. But again, looking at this game, it's much better to go for a more survival build. Like for example, you definitely want the strength talent here.
Right. Okay. So that's how you decide the talent.
Yeah.
Right.
Because again, you need to imagine like what do you pick the talent for, right? Like the damage is for right clicking someone down, cutting the rest of the team. Whereas the strength is for actually when you have to tank. And the other reason is, again, like this is all kind of, you can't really think of all the stuff during the game. Like there's not enough time. But it's just like now we're talking about it, and slowly but surely kind of get in the habit, and you're gonna start like getting a feel for it. Because again, during the game, you're gonna decide based on feeling. So another thing that kind of goes into it is not just the enemy lineup, but also your lineup. Now, imagine you had a Void on your team, like a Void carry your mid, or a Void offlaning or whatever. Then the damage time will make more sense, because you can see the scenario where there's a team fight. If they
and then you'll be able to clear them faster because you'll have the talent to do so, and they'll be stuck in the chrono while you're doing it. So
exactly. They're gonna be stuck. Like you have something to kind of back you up to be in front of you. Like that chrono you can play around. But if I look at this lineup, you don't really have that. Like who's gonna sit in front of you? Like sure, Abaddon can tank, but they can also just ignore him and go on you instead.
Yeah.
There's already that big threat, like someone sitting in front.
That was pretty much the theme of the game.
Yeah.
By the way, you pretty much got it to a T.
Yeah, basically there's no one to really go in, right? So
they're just like, oh, there's a co-op, just go for the co-op. I didn't also help myself either, so
yeah.
I was just kind of like, I didn't know what to do after that. I was just stuck.
Yeah, so that's where basically the other main co-op build. I mean, the build we were doing together, and the one I saw you were doing most of your games was with the Orchid, and the Nullifier and stuff, and then like kind of going for this right click heavy. Where basically you're dealing with damage. And yeah, the other main core build, which I guess I don't think we really went over, but this is a good example of a game where that would be a good build. And that's basically exactly what we're saying. Like you kind of turn into a frontliner, which sounds kind of weird, because you're obviously, no matter how many talents, you're not actually tanky. No. But you're a frontliner in the sense that Puck is a frontliner, if that makes sense to you.
Oh, like a trickster, kind of.
Exactly, like you're not actually taking the damage, but you are going in, like you are in the middle of them.
Right.
And so how do you achieve that is, basically the most key item is Yules, because that gives you like a pseudo phase shift, right?
Yes.
And that basically makes it so that between the Yules, especially when you get that's where you go for the different talents. You go for the strength and you go for the cooldown reduction. And that's where your blink cooldown goes down to like, instead of 6, it's like 5.2 seconds or something, which, it sounds like a very small difference, but it actually does make it is a big deal.
And you've got the mana regen as well from Yules that allows you just to keep doing it as well, which is important on co-op because she loves mana regen. That's why I kept buying Clarities after you advised that as well, which I also think helped a lot.
Yeah, the Clarity is definitely a good idea, no matter what build.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then the way you would take fights in a game like this with Yules is that what the Yules allows you to do, it's not even like, okay, you're gonna blink into 5 heroes and then immediately Yule yourself, and then if you do that, you're still gonna die because the moment you come down, blink will still be not ready.
You can bait out a snowball with it, can't you?
But yeah, basically that's the idea. Like you blink not exactly in the middle, but kind of to the edge of the fight. You throw some spells, maybe you throw a dagger on the Sven to slow him down, and then you start running away. And if they commit, because you're blinking to the edge of the fight and immediately like running, they can't just run up to you, so you need to commit some spells. And then when they commit the spells, that's when you Yule yourself. Like he throws the Sven stun, or he tries to stumble you. That's when you can Yule yourself, dodge that, and because you waited like 2 seconds, then you should have the blink again by the time you come down.
Right, okay, no, I see. So it's just like kind of abusing the cooldowns a bit as well as being able to kind of juggle the spells at the same time. So
exactly, like you're not actually...
kind of chipping, it's chip damage.
Exactly, it's chip damage, but more importantly, you're actually going in, and like the most important things you're doing are you're dealing damage. You're giving vision. You're not actually dealing a lot of damage, but you're dealing some damage. So, for example, you're canceling some blinks. But you're giving vision. You're distracting them, but you're giving space to your other heroes to actually go in. Because again, like if no one is going in, the Wind Ranger is gonna have a really hard time, getting a shackle, for example. But if you're blinking in and throwing a dagger here, and then they're all like looking at you, trying to chase you, and like all their attention's on you, they're like running towards you, then suddenly, like the Wind Ranger sees everyone, and then it's much easier for him to actually get a shackle.
And then pop them with whatever they need to, whether it's all W, and then just keep going from there because you can right. I get that now. So that's why you become a bit like Puck with that kind of build.
Exactly. And then you expand on a build. Like the next item is Shivas. That's the most classic. Like Vil Yules into Shivas, and when you have that, then it's like even nicer because you blink in with the Shivas. So now, even if they do all want to run at you, they're actually very slow. Then when you get the level 20 talent, the AoE Shadow Strike, it's even nicer. Like Shivas plus the AoE Shadow Strike, everyone is super slow. And from there, again, like one round of spells, let's say, only deals like 20-30% of their HP, not that much, but you just keep going in, using those, you walk away, wait for the cooldown, you go in again, and eventually you wear them out, and eventually they have to run or they die, because by the time you use the combo like second or third time, they're all very, very low.
Right, okay, that's when you kind of get the team fight benefits, because later on you'll have all of the Shivas, the ability to blink in and out, the ability to keep hitting with the Shadow Strike, just to slow them all down.
And that's what Sven is very weak against, right? Because if you try to just man fight the Sven, like he's gonna win against almost any hero, because he just hits so hard. But if you just keep cutting him around, blinking around him, slowing him down, even if he has a BKB, like what's he gonna do? He can't pop BKB every time you use Shivas, right? That doesn't make sense. Or every time you dagger him.
I was also thinking about picking up a Halberds this game, mainly because of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. At some point, but again, like it isn't better than the other items.
No, that's what I mean. I kind of decided just to carry on with the other items at the end of the day. I just asked if someone else could buy a Halberds, but I don't think that happened.
I mean, the most classic really is that like Vil Yule into Shiva, and if anything is somewhat replaceable, you could say it's the Veil. You could get like a Yule Lincoln into Shivas instead, like a slight variation. Kind of depends. I would still like the Veil here because that 6 armor makes so much difference. If you do get stunned, the 6 armor could be the difference between like dying during the stun or tanking an extra hit or two so you can blink away.
Yeah.
And then later on at that point, like after those 3 items, you could get a Halberd, but you could also just get a Hex or something.
Yeah. Scythe. or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Anyway, I mean, it's like, yeah, we didn't really go over that build, but now mentioning it because this is like a pretty good game for it. But still, like, let's see how it worked out. That's not to say like it will be the easier, you know, way to approach this game. In that sense, the better choice. That's not to say that, you know, it's impossible to win with this build.
It just makes it a bit better. It gives you a better advantage.
Exactly, yeah. Like, you can still win with the other build, it's just gonna be harder.
Yeah.
So let's see what actually happens. So here you do finish the treads. They go on you, but you don't toggle them. So this is kind of a that's definitely hurts you there, because if you see, they actually used every single spell on pull out. So if you go back, and this kind of it's definitely more of an advanced habit. I mean, even like a lot of divine players don't actually have this habit to you know, toggle treads, not just for, you know, like they know to toggle to int for spells, but they don't have the habit to toggle to strength when they're about to take damage.
Right. So if I'd have toggled, I'd have just had a bit more health to deal with that.
I mean, we're gonna do the math. I'm gonna say exactly what would happen. But yeah, so it's kind of more advanced thing. But in this situation, though, you have, like, let's say it's more advanced to do that during the fight. You know, when it's like you have a half second to do it. But in this situation, it's kind of like you blinked away, all your spells are on cooldown, so you know there's no need to be on int, and you can you have like 5 seconds the time to really react, because you know that they're going on you. So you can just do the math, like here, you know, it's 10 strength. 10 strength is equal to 20 HP. It doesn't actually say here, but yeah, one strength is 20 HP, so 10 strength is 200 HP. Excuse me, yeah, 200. So, and that's why I mentioned why it's such a massive difference. Now, oh yeah, and the other thing is that you popped your wand in advance. You know, you're already full. So let's look at actually both those things. That's 2 charges here.
Rather than waiting for them to cast more spells to get more. Right.
So here you get stunned, double-edged, and the double-edge basically finishes you off. If we look at combat log here, we're gonna see the exact number because it's really close. So you were sitting at 135 HP. Double edge hits you for 176.
Oh, and the 200.
So yeah, plus 200. That would mean you were sitting at 335 HP.
And I'd have survived it.
You survived the double edge with 150. So after this double edge, you still have 150 HP left. Now, of course, they also have right clicks, but if you also add on to the wand charges, so
I would have been able to.
You had 4 here. Yeah, you had 4. You had 2 when you popped it, so that'll be 6. That's another 90 HP. So you actually be sitting on more than 200 HP here, and you know, another scream. Okay, yeah, you did use the scream, but yeah, I mean the Tusk could be dead for sure. Then there's less right clicks coming, and you maybe even take out a second one. Now imagine if you also had raindrops. You know, all these small things like could actually really change.
No, I understand. Right, okay. In this game, mainly having more HP would have just helped with finishing them off when they did do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I got the Tusk there, but I could have gotten at least. I think I could have actually gotten the CM there as well.
So yeah, it's kind of a. It's just, you know, it's important to like really look at the numbers, because it's easy to think like, oh, they just called me, I'm dead no matter what. But you know, if you actually do the math, you see that, you know, with a couple of small items, like they could be the real difference maker.
Yeah, after he's committed that double edge, that's when you've got the chance to carry on and turn that then.
Yeah.
Even solo. Right, okay.
Okay, so in this attempt, it was just at this point. Okay, so first of all, you're not full. The other thing, like again, being actually full HP matters a lot as well, because you know we're talking about getting some minor bonus HP. So here not only are you in shreds, but you're also not full. Like you're missing 100, a little over 100 HP. So that's why in this case you actually die very, very quickly. Now here the Avalon kind of screws up because he has a magic wand ready, which would give him enough mana for the shield, but he doesn't pop it. And second of all, he runs into the hoof stomp. If you actually go back, I assume he was just trying to cast on you. He didn't notice that his mana was gone. And you know, as he's trying to cast it, his hero just kind of ran in.
It's funny actually seeing how the other players in the game work as well, because I only focused on myself.
I hear you ping him like, yeah, dude, where's my shield? Yeah. But so you see, even in that situation where it kind of looked like they overkilled you, 10 more than enough damage. Just these small things, like you ate the tango, you're sitting on strength treads, the shield comes out, you get to pop your magic wand, and suddenly you're definitely not dying there.
The difference between surviving and dying, yeah. That's something I'm gonna also start doing now as well. That's really useful. Let's go in mid. Yeah, Seth as well. I think I see them. Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit here. Oh, this was before the kill. So here you want to go mid. So you move your camera very briefly, but yeah, then you go. I mean, I'm real sure. Like, I guess it's just a very strong habit thing, the camera lock, because you do move it. Like you're running mid, and so you want to see what's going on mid, and you do move it there. But I don't know why. You just kind of keep it locked otherwise.
It's I'm not sure. It was kind of like that was my bad habit in League as well. It's hard to break. I'm trying to think of how I can. I'm gonna have to try. Other than obviously not using the edge movement, I couldn't do with the edge movement. I think that might have been what started it. Maybe, I don't know. It's just I just can't explain it. It's just a bad habit.
Fair enough. You mean you don't like the edge panning to move the camera?
Yeah, that's the one. Edge.
Okay, and what about the scrolling, the minimals?
How is there a setting for that? Where
have you tried it? No, it's just it's default. Basically, if you press and hold the middle mouse button, you just drag the screen.
Oh, I wish I knew that.
That's how, like this basically. I'm holding the middle mouse button now, and I can just move it.
Right. Okay.
This one is really nice because you get to keep your mouse near your hero all the time, and you just move the screen around them. I think you really like it. It's the second most common after edge panning. It actually has advantages over it as well. Anyway, let's move on a little bit. So here, just tank creeps a bit unnecessarily. Farming like this is really dangerous, by the way, because you're sitting at half HP in treads. Everyone's missing. So imagine Tusk and the Centaur are here.
Yeah.
You have no time to react at all if they snowball on you. Here do it tango. So just doing some lane pushing. Let's fast forward a bit.
That SF really hurt.
Yeah, it really hurts.
I think that was just one raise.
That was two. I mean, one raise doesn't bring that low, but yeah, that's the other thing with like against some heroes, like SF, like Puck also, but against these heroes like Raindrop is just so good. I would say it's kind of a necessity against Shadow Fiend just because without it, it's just ridiculous. Like 2 raises brings any hero to like half HP, so it's quite okay. I mean, you blink to Shot.
I had a
Maybe.
Yeah, I just had a feeling that I would have enough HP even if he did, even with his ult, just to survive that.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was.
Again, if you're worried about it, you could toggle the strength.
Yeah, toggle that. So just get into the habit of toggling boots.
Yeah. Again, it's might take you a while, but you know, like you said, just it is a habit, so might as well work on it from now. The other thing is, it is good that you have clarities, but you shouldn't have them, you know, in your inventory over other bigger items. Okay, here. Let's check your camera.
Yeah, it was my own fault here.
Okay, so one thing to point out here, first of all, is that
I was on the right rather than the left.
Exactly, like this is where you have your vision.
I thought it. I was like, oh no, what have I done?
So yeah, if you're standing here, it's pretty easy. But even then, I think I'm not sure if you had to. Okay, so this level all the way from here. Yeah. Okay, this is a good example. Like you get vision when they stall wall. Now remember what we talked about earlier. Like if you blink in the same directions. So this will be a moment where if you blink here and you just run straight back, there's no way they reach you. Yeah.
But I went to the right.
But what actually happened? Yeah. First of all, you went to the right. So again, we're getting this distance here is being kind of wasted because you're going into the snow wall in a way. And even then, the blink was not exactly this max range.
No.
And the next thing is that you kind of hesitate here because instead of running straight away, you run to the right. So if we can't really draw the circle, but if I look at it from here to here, that's just about 2k range. So I have a feeling that if you just ran up, you might have actually still missed it. I mean, that will still be close enough they can catch you with a frostbite, but yeah. Then you actually still survive.
I don't know. I didn't know how actually there. I thought I'd have died there.
Other thing is, you want to kind of walk towards your Abaddon there. He was trying to save you, and you walked away from him, but
right. He's got a few one charges, hasn't he?
Yeah, bit of a bait here. So you regen, you got the Veil. Going back in. So forming camp here, but meanwhile Shadow Fiend is pressuring mid, so okay. You are tracking the fight, okay, that's a plus. So this is what we talk about when you farm camps. You don't need to look at yourself farming camps. You keep track of the map. And you looked at the top fight, but you kinda missed the stuff going on mid. You do eventually catch him. Oof, that was barely, I think.
It was just on the edge. I was like, I don't know how I managed to get away with that.
Yeah, S7 not happy either with that.
I just said it as my S7, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, right, okay. And I saw that and I'm like, oops.
So you see a bunch of heroes mid here, and you run bottom, which was you were running bottom, which was I was gonna say that's great, but then Winona came.
I saw the wind range and I thought it'd be best just to let her take it.
Yeah, then you run to the woods, push out mid. It's okay. Here, kind of just running uphill.
I just thought it's not a fight we won. It's not a fight we won.
But yeah, so the other thing, I mean, kind of going back to the builds again, is you notice that enemies tend to be together as 5 a lot of the time. Meaning, you know, you're not. It's hard to just right click one guy, try to kill him when they're all together. Yeah. Now, that's where again it's not wrong to go for this build in this game. It just you need to play it a bit differently then, because again, looking at their heroes, they don't want to split up. They know that they have stronger team fight. Why would they split up? You know, so you gotta give them a reason to actually split up, and like you need to create that situation, and you do that by split pushing.
Yeah.
like pushing waves and. Here we're getting pinged, but we are doing the right thing because they team A lost the fight, but this tower's off HP, top tower's off HP, so actually they didn't really get much out of it, so this is a good play from him. He just got the shadow
yeah.
on the courier, I believe, right?
Yeah. It had arrived, I think.
Yeah, just arrived, so
yeah.
That's really unfortunate. Again though, it is something could spot if you click him. It is, I agree, it's like unexpected. I won't expect either like Echo Saber into Shadow Blade is not a common build, but still, like why not click him? Because
yeah,
like even if it is something else, you still want to see what it is. It could just be a fresh BKB, who knows? And then he pops that and he kills you, so.
Yeah, I didn't see him either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it was like, someone's just gonna come and.
I was hoping I could take it, but that was way too high.
Now keep in mind that the goal of split pushing is you don't have to commit for a tower, because the moment even if you do get the tower and you die for it, it's actually not great because the time that you're dead, they're able to push out the waves back. So just forcing someone to go back and then you go to a different lane, like that's quite okay.
Right. Okay, and then just push that lane instead.
Yeah, because again, when you're running around, first of all you're killing more creeps, you're not risking dying. They're still having to run around between lanes to defend, and at some point, they're gonna be late, and the creeps themselves, they also do damage to towers. So it's all like if you don't hit the tower, you'll never get it. Yeah, so this build really excels in 1v1 kind of situation, so that's why with the split push you can sort of force enemies back and whatnot and try to get that, create that situation.
I think she was chasing me here. Yeah, they were chasing me at this point, so I thought.
Well, chasing really far, yeah. Well, you actually have a sentry there, so that's a nice pick off. One thing is, okay, no, I was just gonna say, forgetting to use the veil. He didn't forget it here, but it missed the scream as a result. Actually, the reason that happened was, if you look at the veil cast range, it's really massive. 1000
Right.
range and 600 radius. So this again, if you have your camera on them, you can easily just cast the veil first and then blink after. But this is something that's you're just gonna get that when you play it a little bit more. You get more comfortable with the item as well.
Yeah.
Like how to use the item. Just because I don't know if you knew that it actually has this much range, but you can see the green circle. It's massive, almost as much as your blink. So yeah, you can easily target them and then blink, get the scream off. You don't end up getting the Crystal Maiden out. This one goes on you. So okay, this is a bit of a. At this point, we're getting slightly more into co-op specific.
Yeah.
Tips and how to approach stuff. So here you. Actually, where did you? How did you click there? Sorry, I'm going back because I want to see the exact click. So, okay, I think it bugged out because it says that you're moving there.
Oh.
You saw your mouse was here. I think the player perspective is just kind of bugged here. Anyway, yeah, this is a dangerous spot to blink to because you're blinking right on the low ground next to the high ground.
Right.
So no vision. The Sven happened to be there, but in general, when you're chasing like this, the best spot would be to blink right here because you're just about keeping the high ground, and you're still in range of the Crystal Maiden that you're chasing. Here the team comes in. Yeah, that's the other thing that you can always kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a different point. Yeah, what I want to just say is like when you're like, it is good that you're not just I'm low, I'm getting out of the fight. You can always contribute a little bit more if you have mana. And again, that's where the veil is great. Like just casting the veil, it doesn't cost you anything. Like it barely costs any mana. Massive range. It's zero.
It helps everyone.
Exactly, helps your team out, and there's no risk because you're just using it from so far away. Now, here again with this blink to chase, this is just
would have been better going to that corner.
Yeah, to the right basically.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, this will also relate to the blink, but also just general stuff in terms of because I mean, if you forget about the whole like situation that there's two dead and your team this and that, forget about all that. Like you're blinking on a melee hero.
As a ranged
hero, yeah. If you look at your ranges, basically the dagger is 500, it becomes even more, and the Scream of Pain is 475. So the shortest range thing you have is the Scream of Pain, which is 475. Which means there's no reason to be any closer than 475 because that's how much range you need to get everything off. So that's why also I mentioned even with the other build, when you're blinking into multiple heroes and stuff, that's the range you want to blink at from people, because you need to just imagine this, like every single time you blink, like imagine, okay, I blinked, so the entire enemy team is gonna try to kill me right now because my blink is a cooldown, which is realistic. Like that's how people think against Quap, right? Like you see the Quap blink into you, you're like, oh, blink is cooldown, let's try to get her. So you need to always have that in mind. Like if I blink here and immediately they all go for me, will I die? And the answer is yes, then you shouldn't blink there.
Yeah.
then it's a bad spot to blink, yeah. This also where, again, you see with the other build, the use gives you a lot more flexibility regarding that, because if you have an Orchid here, like whether you have the Orchid or not doesn't really change much. Like you can silence one guy, but the other four can still go on you. Whereas with the Yules, you blink somewhere, they all go on you, but you have the self-Yules ready. So it actually,
if it's only one, you can actually Yules them while the rest of the team.
Yeah, or that, yeah. But basically the Yules gives you, like if you look at it very, very basic way, the Yules gives you more places that you can blink to without dying.
Right. No, I get that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the one thing. Now the other thing is just general, team fight approach, positioning. It's related to positioning, camera. Doesn't really have anything to do with Quap necessarily, just any hero really. And that's when you're chasing someone, you need to have this kind of like instinct for keeping distance with your teammates, because pretty much any game there's gonna be at least one AoE spell, and the more clumped up you are, the higher the chance it hits everyone. Doesn't even have to be an AoE spell, like could even just be a Battle Fury carry or a hero with cleave like Sven. So what helps for that is to just imagine, like kind of put yourself in the shoes of someone on the enemy team, any hero with an AoE spell, and because that's what you're looking for when you're playing those heroes. Even as a Quap, right? Like if you see a bunch of heroes stacked up, you're like, oh, that's a great ulti right there.
So you could just scream, it's just basically you're lining yourself up for them.
Exactly. So the moment you see, oh, if I were your enemy team here, like this would be so good, like because I can hit 4 people with one spell. That's when like alarm bells should go off in your head, and you should be like, oh, I need to get away.
This was one of the big mistakes. I thought to myself, why have I done that? Once I died here, I thought more than just me had died here. I thought, oh dear.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so here that Shackle kind of saves stuff, but then the center comes in. But yeah, Shackle didn't come through. He hits like 2-3 more times. The guy should just turn around. Yeah, it's only you that ends up dying, but
the Tusk comes in. Not sure why he went in. And the SF split pushing, he's doing the right thing. I think I actually said the same thing when the game was. I said he's doing the right thing.
Hmm.
He's doing what I should be doing.
Pretty much, yeah. Like he's forcing your team back and
Doing really well this game.
yeah. So even at this point, like 24 minutes in, you guys actually have the game is pretty much even. You have less than one can eat. It's not really
Yeah.
elite, but yeah, it's basically even.
I didn't feel like we were getting stomped at all. Just felt like I needed a few more items, and obviously to do this, while they're all down there, I thought, why not? I'll just push up here.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a good example. Like here, you already like you're starting to get there in terms of the good habit with camera. Like now the next step is like you move the camera there to check out what's going on. But the next step is to actually start clicking heroes because that's something you don't do. So you know that they're all there, but you didn't click anyone, so you don't actually know the details. And you know, so if this is a good moment where you can just click. All right, you see Centaur, probably going for Nags or BKB. SF. This guy went to this. The Tusk has a Shadow Blade. That's pretty important to know. So now, you know Sven has a Shadow Blade. You know Tusk has a Shadow Blade. So you start thinking about sentries. Yeah. In fact, it's worth it. It is worth it for you yourself to get sentries as well, because when you are split pushing, like how are you gonna die? It's with those Invas guys walking up to you. So just having a couple sentries. You know, you're hitting this tower, you drop a sentry next to you, and if they do go for you, you're gonna see them coming. What else? The Shadow Fiend has a Yule, Blink, Perseverance. So, okay, key information, doesn't have a BKB.
So he's a target.
So he's pretty easy to burst down, yeah. But it is scary. Like you could get comboed with the Blink Yule Requiem.
Yeah.
So
that's the benefit of what you said with Yules. If someone's coming in on you, you can do the same thing. Except the difference is, yeah, he had to get a Blink dagger to actually get the Blink rather than Quap, where it's already in the kit.
Yeah, yeah.
So in that in mind, would it have been better for me to have gone mid?
Well, yeah. I mean, who did you actually? It was the Wind Ranger mid, right?
No, it was actually the Brood mid.
The Brood. No, okay, then definitely. Like any melee hero against Shadow Fiend is not having a great time. So. Okay, so here. Oh, you orchid the creep. Okay, I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Really nice reaction.
I said no. When I did that, I thought I'd hit the CM or.
I was thinking, is he gonna manage to use orchid here? Then I hear the sound. I'm like, wow, nice reaction. But wait, who is it on? And then.
And I saw it. I was like, how? I thought I killed them all. I thought, no.
But you actually still got the link out, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realise you can actually orchid creeps at the time. I thought, oh no, that was only a hero targetable thing. I was like, no.
But still, again, I mean, this is like it's more important to you know have the habit of orchiding like that. And okay, I mean, the fact you got the creep is like, okay, whatever. Next time, don't click the creep. You know, that's like pretty simple. But you know, having the presence of mind to use it is the harder thing, and you did have it there, so that's good.
It's only since using Quap though that I thought about using those items more, because you want to make sure you've got the higher. Oh, and I saw her over there, so I thought, right, just for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and even with the orchid, like it does give you space. Like it's not something reliable, because like I mentioned, in a given fight, you blink in 5 heroes. You can only silence one of them. That's not really helping you. But you will see, like with more experience, you kind of, there will be openings. Like let's say where, they're kind of sitting around, but like let's say there's 3 heroes here, and only 2 heroes here. So you can actually jump to the side where there's only 2 heroes and like silence one of them, and go on the other, and then you're actually relatively safe still.
Right.
So you might see some openings like that. Or or even if you like blink to the side where only one hero can reach you, and you silence that hero, then it's.
Yeah, he gets away there.
So here, some general. Again, though, the camera stuff is just so important in these, like, even for something like using Orchid, because again, the range is massive, and it's instant cast, more importantly. So what it means is, see right here, like, let's say if I'm playing this co-op right here, I would have my camera somewhere here, and I'll be thinking, like, from their perspective, like, okay, the Shadow Fiend being chased and stuff, they see us because of the SF. Now these guys might be thinking about jumping. Of course, this fan has a Shadow instead of a Blink, so he's not actually going to be jumping, but, okay, at least the Centaur, like, any hero with a Blink, any hero with a Blink, you want to be ready, like, look at this little movements, like, he's running up this way, he might want to go in. Already here, like, just click the Orchid on him, and what's going to happen is that the way it works, even if he runs into fog afterwards,
you won't be able to blink out.
The moment, yeah, if he blinks in anywhere in your Orchid range, you will immediately use it, because you clicked it once already. Okay, so see right here, like, he's 100% gonna jump. I mean, this is always, right, because this fan is, like, running under a sentry. You know, this fan gets shackled, so the fan is stunned. Obviously, you don't need to Orchid him because he's disabled. And obviously, because he's stunned, your team is going to want to go on him. And again, look at the positioning. 4 heroes, close. Incredibly stacked up. So if you're the Centaur, like, why would you not jump here? Like, you definitely won't jump here. So imagine, now I don't know what happens in this fight. I don't know, maybe he missed, maybe it gets cancelled, whatever. But imagine you like, you have no idea how many fights I've actually won like this, because there's a very clear opening, but you just press Orchid on the guy that's jumping, and what happens is he blinks into 5 heroes, silenced.
He can't do anything.
And he's just also dead. Like, he's trying to save his body, but he just ends up dying as well. But yeah, so you use Orchid on the Sven, who's already disabled, and then he gets the stun off, he gets the ult off. That's the counter initiation right there. And you guys, like, the fight still goes okay, because you had Aegis and stuff, so it ends up being a 3-for-1. But just imagine you silence the Centaur there, like, no one dies.
Yeah.
You don't even lose the Aegis there. Yeah. And by the way, Yule works the same way. Like, whether you pre-click the Orchid or you pre-click the Yules, doesn't matter, like, it's the same effect. The guy blinks in and he doesn't get his spell off. So you can, like, this is what we're doing with both builds. Nice feeling.
Nice feeling.
In fact, there are actually some games where you could get both Yule and Orchid.
Right.
Then you have, you know, more options to play around with. Games, like, then you could even, like, you know, blink into a fight, Orchid one guy, Yule the other guy, and kind of, you know, stay safe that way. But a lot of trash talk going on. But yeah, so here you're going for Nullifier. I mean, sure, this one has a BKB, but remember what I mentioned, like, the Nullifier, the projectile is kind of slow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it before. Like, the projectile takes a while to fly. I mean, we can look at the exact. I'll pop up on the wiki. It's not a bad habit, by the way, to, you know, check stuff just to be sure, like, aware of the exact number. Right, so cast range 600, travels at 1200, so it takes half a second to reach. Doesn't seem like much, but again, it is an item, so, you know, there's a big difference between takes half a second to hit and, you know, instant, the way Orchid is. But yeah, so what that means is basically that generally it's better paired with the blink, right? Because if you walk up to someone, you try to hit the Nullifier, like, they have a lot of time to react, because the range is 600, but let's say they're running away from it, that gives them like an extra half second. So, and that's what we're talking, like, it's good on co-op for that reason, because you have a built-in blink, so you can, if you blink on top of them, the distance has to travel is very short, so it ends up being more instant. So that makes it good on co-op. But like I mentioned earlier, like you're against a Sven, you don't really want to blink on top of him.
No, because he'll just... Well, you only want to be within the range that it says on the actual abilities.
Exactly, yeah. And that's where, again, I mean, it's just kind of related. Like, you don't want an item that, you know, doesn't really fit with what you actually want to do in fights, yeah. The other thing is that Sheffield has Lincolns, so it's not really... Yeah, he has a Blink as well, which Blink, by the way, disjoints it, so... Yeah, overall, not a great... Not a fire game. I would say, I mean, you could just go back for the Shivas here. That would be quite good. It's kind of a hybrid build, you know, it's kind of in between. It's not like, it's not the Veil Yule Shivas they were talking about, but Veil Orchid Shivas, which, it's still like a pretty good build. And, you know, in between the Veil and the Shivas, you're gonna have a lot of armor, a lot of slow, a lot of kiting.
Which again helps with the SF, the actual Sven as well.
Yeah.
Just helps everyone. Again, we're a bit close.
So you're kind of just trading with them, but you know it's Sven ult, so
yeah,
you guys are pretty stacked up. Kind of afraid to commit. Here you both use Orchid on them, so actually one of them goes through. Oh, there it is blocked. I mean, here it's just kind of like you guys are trading with the Sven with ult. It doesn't have a BKB. Now this build is very greedy from Sven because without BKB it's just very easy to kite. I don't really have the items to kite him with, and because you guys are avoiding this fight.
I missed that completely.
Oh, that was a bit unfortunate.
It was awful. Yeah, I wasn't happy with that. I thought I'd just gotten within a range just so I could get even just the closest, just right next to his ear.
His ear, yeah. No, that is actually something we're pointing out though, is that, okay, we can go to the wiki to get the exact number, but if you want to make sure you land the ult, you actually don't want to be very close to them because
it goes out.
Yeah, it's a cone.
It's in a cone, yeah.
Starting radius 100. That is super small. That's like, what has a 100? I mean, 100 is the melee attack range pretty much.
Right.
That's a tiny radius, so it's really easy to dodge. And you know the end radius 450, which is pretty massive. But yeah, generally you want to be like somewhere, I don't know, 300-400 range away from them, and you know that's like the safest way to hit it. Worth pointing out that travel distance 900, end radius 450. Can hit units up to this much, 1.35 range away.
So it kind of extends. So it is a bit like an echo.
Yeah,
it has the initial cone, and then afterwards it's kind of an extra.
I mean, the shape is literally. Let's see if I can open up Paint. I don't have it here. The shape is literally like this. So
right.
So basically, you see, this is this end part. That's the thing that has the 450 radius. This distance.
Yeah.
And it goes in all directions. That's why, yeah, when you like this sharp kind of end point, it actually reaches a bit further. This is the 1350, this distance.
Oh, so that's just telling you how long and wide the actual cone goes out to from the initial. Right.
This is 100. Oh, sorry, this is 200, right? Because it's radius. This is 450. And this is 1350.
Right, okay. No, I get that now. That's why it says it's 900, because it's going 450 from both ways.
Yeah, because from here to here it's 900, I guess. Something like that. That's 900.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's some details on ult, but yeah, that's why if you want to hit it, basically there's rarely a need to actually blink in and then ult, because the ult is actually 50 range
Better
longer
to
than the
hit.
blink.
Again, so it's just a matter of just keeping at range
Yeah,
and then using it rather than just having to. Right. Okay.
Like even if you see a bunch of heroes stacked up and you want to like hit them all, it's very tempting to like blink scream in the middle of them and then, oh wait, now I have to ult, so you kind of like step to the side to try to land angle it or whatever. But it's much easier to just ult like from a distance and then blink scream after.
Yeah.
Worthy tribute.
So yeah, now it's kind of like traded Rex. So you see, like here it's nice that you're blocking his BKB, but he just kind of hits you anyway, and it doesn't matter. If any of these hits was a crit, you'll probably die.
Died. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, other thing is still being on, like especially at this point in the game, you want to be on strength threats because.
To be fair, I thought he'd be going for a Daedalus or something at that point.
No, he had it before.
Oh, he does have a Daedalus, right?
He went Echo, Shadowblade, Daedalus, then BKB after. Yeah.
Right. And that's why it would have been better getting the BKB earlier for him.
Yeah. Again, if if you had some big spell, that kind of backs you up like a Chrono or whatever, then it will make more sense to go for this build, because the way you could approach fights is you jump the Sven with all these items, and if his team tries to help him, then the Chrono comes in.
So it depends more if you've got. So you've got to kind of think about if your team has the team fight to make this build worth it, rather than.
Yeah.
So
And
that's when you said about the frontliners. So say you don't really have a good team fight, it would be better to go for the Yule Shivas.
exactly, because then you fill that role, because then you're the one that kind of sets things up, and your team can
You're initiating for them.
get a good jump. Yeah, because
Right.
what this build is like trying to let you do is focus one target down basically, right? And
Yeah, which is great
which
against.
like Wind Ranger does that with her kit. I mean, that's kind of the point of the hero. And
Yeah.
Wind Ranger doesn't really have the option to go for this. Like, yeah, you can get the same items on Wind Ranger, but it's really weird, right? To go like,
Yeah,
first one needs to buy the Blink Dagger, and then to go like Shiva.
It's a bit wonky.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, it makes way more sense if you go for those items, and then everyone is slowed. Then you allow the Wind Ranger to kind of find an angle, find the target.
I don't know why they kept hitting him while he had his ult, but
Yeah. So here you did it properly. That was quite nice. Except, I mean, they're just very tanky at this stage, so.
he pops his BKB. But
Yeah, this way you just gotta kite him, because again, like if he had he did have Lysa timed actually, but yeah, if he had a crit there, you would actually die from the cleave.
died again.
Because
Just getting quite lucky both times.
he's critting for like 1.5k. The cleave percentage brings it down to like 1k, but it's pure damage, so you got less than 1000 HP. So yeah. And yeah, the other thing is again going for the spell lifesteal here. Really, the only times I would say that the spell lifesteal is good is if you have both the Shivas and the Mjolnir to go with it, because
Right.
that's the only time you actually have like a lot of this sustained AoE magic damage to really heal from. But yeah, in most cases, really the AoE Shadow Strike just does so much for you. And now the other thing is, upgrading the Orchid to Bloodthorn. Like, it's a nice upgrade, but you need to keep in mind it is 3.1k gold. Like, that's almost another item. It's more than, let's say, a Yule costs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you really, like, obviously if you're 6 loaded, sure, but you're not, like, you only have 3 items right now, so do you want the 4th item, or like make your Orchid slightly better? That's basically the question. And And that's the cool thing. Like imagine you had a Yules, like it's getting a bit, it's not very reliable and it's kind of hard to pull off. But for example, with the Yule, what you could do is blink on the SF, throw the nullifier, then Yule him. Yule breaks the Lincolns, then the nullifier connects, then you could orchid him, and then you actually get the.
Oh yeah, because it's a delayed projectile. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with the CM there. I think Chad's just out of position there. I get caught out.
Yeah, Dusk is hitting also really hard at this point. Actually went for GPM over XP. That's weird. But yeah, so you see, and the other thing is that, again, like without a big armor item at 40 minutes in against these heroes, it just means that you don't have a lot of room for mistakes, because really like one stun is all it takes, and
Yeah.
they're killing you. So
Yeah.
and that's why just having the Shivas, like it's not about like, oh, can I, you're not suddenly turning into a tank, but it's more like you're buying yourself that extra time, like just those couple more hits, those like that extra few, a second or two, which could be the difference between getting another blink off or another item off. So
And then helping the team, like you said before, whether you'll be able to actually move in, slow down, or make things happen, basically.
yeah. And that's something that's you'll notice is kind of lacking in a lot of, because everyone likes to play this, sit back, wait for something to happen, and then you use your spells if you see an opening.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty easy, right?
But if you're the one that makes things happen, they'll be more likely to follow up on that.
Exactly. It's the reason why most people don't do that is honestly because they're afraid of making a mistake. They think like, okay, what if I go in and then I don't manage to heal myself in time, I might die. It's risky. I don't want to fuck up, so I'm just gonna sit back and wait till someone else does something.
And then nobody else does it either because they've got the same.
Exactly, and then in the end, no one really does anything. And that's why, by the way, like some heroes like Bristleback, I noticed that like in lower brackets they're so successful, is because like the hero just allows you to not be scared and just kind of go in.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now I understand. So it's the mentality of the player.
Exactly. And
rather than the skill.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just you notice that a lot of the times it's not even really. Like sure, like sometimes you will mess up, like you're gonna blink and then you're too late to press some item and then you just get stunned and die. Like it's gonna happen, okay, but the more you do it,
yeah,
the less often it will happen and you get used to. But what I want to say is that the other way around, like the other thing also happens a lot, and that's what people don't kind of forget about. It definitely happens that the enemy team panics, like you blink in just to throw a dagger and Sven is panicking and suddenly pops his BKB. He's like, oh no, they're going on us, and then you just walk away and he wasted his BKB, or like
right.
You're
trying to make them like afraid, almost intimidate them a bit.
Exactly, like they're scared, they don't, like they're not better than you, right? They don't have a better read on the situation,
but they just know that the kit's a bit dangerous. If they know that you're a threat, you're more likely to force an error from them.
Exactly, like because again, if you play against really, really good players, they know exactly like who can do how much and what can happen. But these players don't, and in the same way that they're scared to go in because they're not sure, if they're actually gonna survive or they might die, and that's why they're scared. In the same way, when you go in, they're not sure, like, oh, is he going in because I'm gonna die? Like, should we be scared? Should we run? Should we?
So there's just an initial confusion for that first few seconds.
Exactly.
And that's what you kind of take advantage of. Are they going in? Oh, I'm gonna pop my item because he's there, and then you kind of just say, oh no, not really, and then just walk away.
Exactly. Yeah, and because you're the one doing it, like you're the one setting the pace, like you're the one aware of what's happening because it's your plan.
Right, I understand that now.
Yeah. So yeah, that can be your homework for the next lesson is to try play some games with that build. And you know, as for yeah.
Veil.
As for like
It sounds spot on,
recognizing which build to go for when, like that's kind of a bit more. It's situational really, but you know, just try it no matter what the lineup is, just for the sake of practice, and
Yeah.
don't worry too much about like is it exactly the best, because like I mentioned, even this game, like sure the other build might be a bit better, but you could also definitely still win with this build, and it was kind of close, right? Like you guys took two sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about recognizing what each build is good at, and you know, when you get comfortable with both builds, what's gonna happen then is that you can kind of just, like eventually you start getting the feel yourself for this. Like you're gonna see some heroes, like this game I kind of feel like I want to do this or that. So yeah, that's how you can.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we can.
That'll-
There's a little
Yeah.
bit of replay left, but I think pretty much game's
It's
over now.
pretty much, yeah, they're pretty much walkovers at this point. They're like 11k up. They got megas as well. Yeah.
All right. So, do you have any other questions about this game in particular, or Pulp?
No, you've pretty much answered everything. And I know I made a fair few mistakes as well. It was just the item build, really. Whether I just felt the same. Like when you're playing it, you feel like there's something better I could have built, but I just wasn't sure what. Whether it would have been better to have gone for the Euls, knowing that there was a Wind Ranger there, or whether it's because I'm still too scared to go mid as well. You know, it's completely different. So I mean, and I'm still trying to get used to Quap as well.
Yeah, yeah.
At the same time, I'm not great with the last hit still, as you probably noticed. I missed quite a lot. I was on 29 by like 40 minutes.
It's getting there. Yeah, I think you notice like if you practice a bit more on safe lane, like you'll go, like as you mentioned, you'll get more comfortable with Quap as a hero.
Yeah.
And then when you do play it mid, you see it's really not that scary at all, and if you're comfortable with hero, it's gonna be pretty easy, because it is obviously a really good mid hero. Yeah, what other stuff? I mean, I'm definitely noticing like in Pro are doing the stuff we talked about in terms of like I mentioned with camera checking stuff. Could just do it like a little bit, you know, a little bit more, a little bit, you know, get also the habit of clicking heroes, keep track of items.
To see what they've got. Yeah. Whether it's worth going for. So like you said before, when they were going for the Shadow Blades, would have been better buying a few Sentry Wards, just so we had like the Invis there.
Yeah, because if you remember that fight on mid, actually, where I mean, I mentioned that, like you could work at the center, blah blah, but the way the fight started was Invis Vayne walking into a Sentry Ward, which I don't know who bought. Let's see. But yeah, it was the Invis Vayne walking to the Sentry Ward, so he just gets shackled and focused. Yeah, so when you're about 6,
yeah,
I don't know, about 10.
I think it was the Wind Ranger. I think it was.
So you see like that. I mean, just one sentry can really win you the fight straight up, because you know, if you get a catch on someone before they can react. Alright, well, what else did I have to mention? I would say spellcasting is definitely getting. I mean, okay, sure, you missed a Sonic Wave here or there, but overall, the spellcasting looks a lot better than than obviously like the first few games we did. As well as the item casting, and like I mentioned with the Orchid, again, like you're already having the presence of mind to use it. Like the Veil also. I mean, honestly, you'll be surprised. Like even higher level players like so often like forget to use the Veil. It's so like again, these are really good habits.
It's kind of just hit, like I kind of hear your voice at the back of the mind saying, "Use it now."
Yeah.
So I'll try to use.
Yeah. Alright. So yeah, I mean, just building those habits, and yeah, like I mentioned, the more comfortable you get with the hero, at some point you're gonna be able to like spare a bit of brain power to, you know, try and imagine the enemy perspective, and you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, if I were the centaur, I would obviously jump us right now because we're so stacked, and then you can get the
And
orchid
that's
off.
when, and then you can kill him,
Yeah, yeah.
or rather, go for the Sven and then go back and kill him.
And when you, and this already, I mean, alright, you don't have to like think about too much because it's like, let's say a bit higher level, it's the next step, harder to do, but I'll just mention it. But so I remember that situation where like you guys are stacked up, and I'm telling you to orchid a centaur, and that's you had vision of him. Now sometimes you're not gonna have vision of them, especially like also really good players like they'll buy both Shadowblade and Blink on heroes like that, so that they can, be invisible until they actually blink in.
Yeah.
And that's a lot harder to deal with. But something else you could actually do in those situations, you still have an option, potentially to like outplay them. Again with the items like Orchid and Yule, you can just guess. Like if you see your team stacked up, and like again imagine,
Try
I'm
and
the
bait it.
I would blink here, and I mean it is too risky. Like you don't want to like do that on purpose because if you mess up, you're just all dead. But if it does happen, the one thing you can still do is just click it on the ground where you think he's gonna blink, and it's not super hard to estimate most of the time because like there's gonna be like a pretty narrow spot where he needs to
Right
blink
in
so
the
he can hit
middle.
everyone.
He wants to go into the middle.
Exactly, so you can hit everyone. So if you just click your orchid on the ground in the middle and you just spam click it, you might actually get it off on him as he blinks in. You get called a scripter, but if you ever pull it off, it's really rare. I mean, I've done it like only a handful of times for a lot of tries.
Just
But
have
if
to take it as the ultimate compliment.
but if you do pull it off, it feels really, really good. So
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't actually know you could do that either, to be fair.
I mean, there are actually the scripts do it automatically, but again, if you're like really into it, then you kind of can read the situation. It's worth a try. I mean, again, you're gonna be doing it 10 times, and maybe 9 out of 10 times nothing happens, no one blinks in, or sometimes you're gonna blink slightly like somewhere else, so you were actually spam clicking one spot, and then they blink somewhere else, and you miss them. Then it feels bad, but.
It's better to try than not try at all.
Exactly, yeah. Like it's the last resort kind of thing. Like definitely don't rely on it. Definitely don't try to like, hey guys, let's stack up. Trust me. And then you'll die. Yeah.
I'm divine too. Secretly, it's my alt account on RTZ. Trust me. I'm not playing Lycan, but trust me.
Yeah.
No, I can think about that. That's pretty funny. No, I won't rely on it, but if it ever does happen again, I will give it a go just to see.
Pretty much. Yeah.
To be fair, I might actually get flamed something in Russian. Well, probably. Or even though I'm getting called a scripter, so.
Yeah. I mean, other people probably won't notice, but the guy you do it to is definitely gonna be like, what just happened? Yeah. But yeah. Well, anyway, I guess there's not much. Is there anything you wanna try now? Like we have some bit of time left. You wanna try some more lobby practice or something?
Yeah. Just let's see. I'm just making sure I've got all the notes as well down as well. I think I do. Yeah, I've got them.
Go
So
stop the screen share.
yeah, close that. Right. Let's load up Dota now. There we go. I forget when's the next patch due?
It's every Thursday. Every 2 weeks. I mean, every second Thursday.
Yeah.
So it wasn't last year, so I suppose it's gonna be 15th.
This yeah. Just keep checking the patch notes because I saw the boots. They increased the price, but they're faster now. Move speed's better by 10? 5.
5
10
I
on
think,
base.
Yeah. Oh, it's really minimal, but yeah, the big thing is the cost, obviously.
Yeah. It changed all of Lena's talent. I make sure to check the patch notes. With some heroes, I kind of get an idea of like whether that's good or bad for them, but I think it's just mainly an experience with other heroes. Whether I'm like, I don't know whether that's good or bad for them. I tend to watch videos of people just summarizing it. Don't know if that's a bad thing. Instead, just to kind of get an idea.
I mean, it's not a bad thing, just as long as you keep an open mind and or keep in mind that not everything they say is necessarily true or correct.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Alright, so yeah, we could just do some more Queen of Pain practice, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you wanna? Oh, we can start with like some side lane and then try some mid as well.
Yeah.
I guess pick just how to. No, yeah, we don't have to both be Queen of Pain. We can do some matchup that you want to try. Any heroes you've been facing in a 1v1 maybe at other games?
Just trying to think. There has been Wraith Kings, a few Wraith Kings, I think. Dragon Knight's been one.
So okay, DK is a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's actually the kind of the hero that's been popular as a mid, kind of a counter to Quop, but also now he's getting popular as a offlaner. So
I find him pretty frustrating to play against.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong hero. So
yeah.
So the thing with DK is this like it kind of goes back to like how the hero works, what you want to get out of the lane. Now, the thing that's nice about Quop, right, is that you can pressure, harass a lot, and kind of dominate the lane that way, and eventually, get enough advantage that you can kind of zone them or threaten kills. And the thing with DK is that he just has so much sustain and regen that you can't really do that with a TK. Do you have
He's difficult.
Yeah, I got a mango, by the way. I guess he's a bonus hero. Do you have a mango?
I have now. I'm buying one.
You bought the mango. Okay. I'm gonna destroy mine, so it's not no unfair advantages. But yeah, so
Yes. Don't know why I've done that.
Right, so anyway, what I was saying, like DK obviously has a lot of sustain, and basically you just need to adjust your mindset against him, like instead of trying to zone him in the lane, you basically just focus on farming. Like you need to accept, like, alright, this hero's too tanky, it's too much regen, like, you can't zone him. Yeah. Again, it kind of depends on, because that's alone, right? Obviously, if someone ganks your lane or if you have a +1, you can still kill him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just assuming that it's a 1v1. Now, it does depend Yeah, depending on that also, you're like it's about your build, because again the point of the Shadow Strike is just to like to harass him and to go for a kill. Now, if you know that no one is gonna help you in the lane and no one is gonna gank him, and you just want to get as much farm as possible, it's better to get points in the Scream earlier and just use the Scream to last hit. Because the other thing is that the Breathe Fire reduces your attack damage, which makes it even like harder to actually last hit. So again, that's where the actually it was too late on that one.
Right.
By the shield of Slayer. Denied. We cross swords. Our shields shall clash. Dragon out. I need those skills.
So keep in mind, like, you don't want to waste. Like, you still hit me if you have like downtime, but your main focus should be on the last hits here.
Yeah. It's just doing that thing where you move in between.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
This cavalier.
But you see, like, keep in mind also the prioritizing the range creeps. Like, notice how I'm not really bothering too much to deny my melee creeps, but I'm doing my best to not let you get the range creeps because they give more. They give more gold, obviously.
Yeah.
And if I am using my fire to secure last hit, I'm using it for the range creep, not just the secure melee creeps. So see, like, for example, here you used your scream to secure the melee creeps, but then you didn't have it for the range one.
The range, and that gives more.
Yeah, so I was able to deny the ranges again.
Dragon charge. Who calls the dragon? Attack. By the honor of the ancients.
So see, even like tanking you and the creeps, I'm still winning the trade just because of the heroes. So
I'll melt your skull.
I don't actually have couriers. That's a bit unfortunate, but whatever. We don't have to do it for very long.
Oh, it's the fact you can tank so much. He's so good. There we go.
Compelled.
Yeah, I mean, I have money for soul ring like in one creep, and that makes it even harder because that's another like 2 regen on top of everything.
Yeah.
Basically, these item changes are kind of what made the DK so good. If you notice, pretty much every DK goes for soul ring and magic wand, and you know magic wand now gives HP regen. It didn't before, so it's a 1.5 from the wand. It's 2 from the soul ring, so that's 3.5, and it gets amplified by strength. Then you also get 6 from the dragon blood. All of that gets amplified by strength. So already I'm sitting at 10 health regen, 11.
And that's why he's so tanky.
Yeah, 11 health regen with 11 armor and stout shield. Yeah, I could put more points into it if I want.
Attack. This cavalier. Dragon to the fray.
So that's why I could just kind of zone you. Okay, you're doing a good job though, like what I mentioned, just turning around as soon as I turn around. Because you're ranged, you want to abuse the range.
Yeah. It's just that you got the regen because you're so tanky. That's why it's hard.
I need those skills.
Ah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much over at this point. But so this is what I mentioned with like the. Even if your creeps are hitting me, I can still kind of tank that.
Yeah.
but still, like, if you focus more on the, like, because this is a pure 1v1,
Yeah.
if you point, if you put 2 points in Scream by level 3, so at level 3 you have 2 points in Scream and you can save the third one, like maybe you need to blink. Then you can actually use already, like, if you remember what I told you, the level 1 Scream is already worth using, but the level 2 Scream, the level 2 Scream actually already deals a lot of damage, so
Yeah.
then you can use that to harass me and get last hits.
Oh!
I actually thought you would die from that, the poison there.
I thought I was dead.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of close. Yeah, anyway, we can go again, like this one was kind of over.
Yeah.
Can switch sides maybe. Or maybe we can, like, you play the DK, I play the Quop. Maybe that's
Oh yeah.
interesting.
Just see it from the other perspective. It's interesting because I think I've only ever played DK once, so it's a bit difficult to kind of like understand completely how he works. I know he's got armor.
We can switch sides if you want, yeah, so
Yeah.
make it the exact same.
There.
All pick.
I'll just show my mango.
Yeah, so the build I went with was just, I don't know if you want to do the same build, maybe you have some better idea. Just Stout, Mango, 2 branches, and 2 tangos. And then just get the magic wand as soon as possible, and then get the Quelling Blade, and then work on the soaring. That's what I did with the DK.
Right, so Stout, Mango, 2 Tangos,
And 2 branches.
2 branches.
Like, you're setting yourself up to complete the magic wand from the side shop, because you can buy
Yeah.
only the stick from the side. We can type this to without the space to create a lich that's gonna buy the courier for you.
Oh right, okay.
So we can have a courier.
Oh, yes. Forward. A path to pain. Oh,
30 seconds to battle.
forward. Your queen moves.
But yeah, you'll notice that this matchup is really, like, if both sides play correctly, like, there's not very much kill potential in the 1v1.
Mm.
So it really boils down to, like, who gets more last hits. And
Right.
it is kind of boring in that sense, because you're just, like, literally just both last hitting, but I mean, in another way that makes it good to practice, because if you get good at this, you can outlast hit in a lot of matchups.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The pain train. Gold for my crown. As I ah, no gold for you. Here, here. Oh,
So this is where for the range creep you could use your
tight.
breathe fire to secure it. Okay, that was a nice deny.
Oh, yes.
The other thing you can do is, because Breathe Fire reduces attack damage by 25%, you see now I'm at 56 minus 14. It's pretty significant, so
Under attack.
if you want to make it harder for me to last hit a range creep and easier for you to deny it, you use the Breathe Fire before range creep is about to die. And then this was a bit late.
Ah,
Your queen
right, okay.
moves.
Ah,
I didn't get that one either, because... So notice I didn't use any mana so far, because I had still level 1 Scream, and now I have level 2 Scream. And my plan is basically now I'm gonna use it to secure every range creep, even if you try to deny it, and then harass you at the same time, yeah.
Does this hurt?
Just running to buy my stuff.
Forward.
So that was good. You know that I can't really trade with you, so just hit me.
yeah.
And I don't even bother trying to return, because I just will lose the trade, so I run back a bit.
The pain train.
So here, notice, as soon as the range creep drops low, I start like dancing around, because I expect you to try
Oh, yes.
last hit it with Breathe Fire and hit me with it at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm running around, changing direction to make that harder for you, to like hit both of the creep and me with it.
Attack. My pain tolerance increases. A royal.
So see here, you use your spell to get my range creep
Queen.
and to make it hard for me to get yours, and then I use my spell to secure yours.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the trade-off. I mean, that's why you should definitely have a Quelling Blade, because that just gives you more of an edge.
Blade.
Quickly now.
Again, now both creeps were low, you could get like 2 last hits and hit me, but you had no mana,
Train.
and I knew that because I checked you, so that's why
Right.
I wasn't scared, and I could just
Forward.
run more.
Go.
Yes.
It is like 1-on-1s are always going to be a bit unrealistic, because in the real game there's going to be the threat of ganks. You can't really just do the same stuff,
Yeah.
Here, here.
like running under a tower or whatever is going to be a lot riskier, but and you want to stay, like I would want to keep more mana probably, so that I can be ready to react and TP somewhere,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yes. The treasury grows.
see here I'm recognizing that you're dropping kind of low,
Under attack.
so I'm going to chase you a bit, use another Scream.
A royal path.
Ah.
It actually got to you there, yeah. And so this happened because I have level 3 Scream at level 5 instead of
Yeah.
taking any points in Dagger. Because again, like Dagger is damage over time. It's good at like wearing heroes down, like Shadow Fiend. But against DK, his regen is high, so he doesn't really care that much about the Dagger.
Queen.
Right.
And that's where like having more points in the Scream, not only like you can still tank through it if you have a bit more, if you had a bit more last hits, if you bought a bit more regen items, like getting the Soul Ring earlier and stuff. You could still tank through it, but at least the Scream actually helps me last hit as well, and also push the lane. By pushing the lane,
Here.
I'm able to like also kind of keep myself safe, because remember what happened when I was the DK? I would push the lane and then I could kind of just run after you, and you just have to run away. You can't really trade with me.
Yeah.
And that obviously is going to be harder when you don't have creeps, or when I'm pushing the lane, because then even if you're harassing me, you're missing out on creeps.
Pay for
So
privilege. A royal path.
No money for you.
Pain builds character.
alright, so again at this point, like because you respawned and I'm out of region, I'll have to kind of run base or use the shrine or whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, like 6 minutes in is pretty much. What are your last hits like? We can do a
Not
check.
great.
Queen
Yeah, so I mean you're not familiar with DK, so don't worry too much about it. But what we can do now is just yeah, like next time you play against DK, you kind of know how to approach it,
Yeah.
Tower is under
and this is it's good. It's good stuff to learn for any matchup, any heroes, any like in general. Like just realize like what both heroes are good at, what you can and can't do, and sometimes you just need to adapt and just do something else. So again, this is kind of similar against maybe let's say a Viper. Like he's just too
Yes.
tanky. You can't really spam dagger and harass him out because his passive like ends up dealing more damage to you than the dagger. So and that's when you just adjust your what you're trying to get out of the lane, and instead of trying to harass him and stuff, you just focus on last hits and pushing the lane and getting those last hits with
And that's why the early screams are more useful on the queue, because
yeah,
he's got the regen anyway, the armor, the tankiness.
exactly.
You rather just want to get your snowballing going.
Yeah, exactly. Like focus on your farm and just accept like you don't have to kill him. Like if an ally does rotate and you get a kill, like the scream also helps with that. Obviously, that's great, but it's not really your goal because it's gonna be very difficult. And then obviously with a lot of other heroes, like that's because they are killable, because you know stuff like Shadow Fiend. Those are the cases where you do wanna level that dagger early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's just situational. It's just depending on who you're playing against.
Mhm.
If the tanky, you want to really focus on the farm, but if you do know that they can go toe to toe, you'd rather just hold that ability a bit longer just to see how the lane goes.
Yeah, yeah. And it depends a lot as well on your support too, like, or if you have one and what it is, because like some supporters don't do a lot of damage. You know, you could have like a defensive support, or I don't know, like let's say you have a what's like Rubik, probably one of the lowest damage supports.
Yeah.
If you have a Rubik on the lane, like he's contributing like a Fade Bolt, which is very minimal damage, and then right clicks, which also against the DK with armor and stout shoot, like the right clicks barely do anything. So if you have a Rubik, it doesn't change much. You have the same approach. But like let's say you have an AA, like, or a Shadow Shaman, like those are supports with a lot of damage.
Yes.
So then you actually do have kill potential, and then it does make sense to still go for the dagger.
So it all depends. So again, it's like, have
But-
you got
but-
someone that can help you
Yeah.
with stuns, with damage? Yes, then go for like the Shadow Strike.
Mm-hmm. And
If not, just go for Scream.
and again, even more situational. Let's say it's a dual lane. Like, let's say it's a DK plus someone else, like I don't know, a DK and a Tusk. Then once again, you're up against two heroes, and probably make more sense to go for Scream, because you're actually gonna hit both. And the dagger won't.
Yeah, at that point as well, would you go for the Yule's Shiva build instead? Or sorry, the Yule-
If there's a DK and a Tusk, then probably yeah. It's
Yeah.
a bit more like it. To really make the best choice, you gotta just see both full lineups, and kind of see like not just what the enemy team has, but also what your team needs, right?
Yeah.
Because let's say you, I mean that wouldn't be ideal, but let's say you already have a puck mid on your team, who can't really
Then
go for the right click stuff, so
Yeah, so it might be better just to leave them to do that.
the
initiate
Shiva
role
stuff,
instead.
yeah, exactly.
And then you can carry on going for the Orchid or the Yule
For the right click, yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
exactly.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
you have any other questions for now?
No, you've pretty much answered them all. I've just been noting them down in a notepad, just so I've got them just to look back on as well.
Alright.
Just to remind me.
Nice.
Um,
I'll make some.
and also, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I should say, and the homework just to practice try and using that other initiating build if you haven't got an initiator on the team, and then try to get into the habit of using the middle mouse button. In that practice, I just tried using the middle mouse button, but I think there's a option you have to tick. For some reason, when I unlock, it won't let me use the middle mouse button.
Ah, okay, that's weird. I mean, there must be something. Let me see. I'm looking at. So there is a camera and options where it shows. For me, how it is the edge pan and disable camera zoom are both selected, and the other three are not selected. So I don't know if it's the same for you.
Hold select to follow your hero. Disable camera zoom, reverse camera grip, edge pan is off. The only one that's on is the center camera on hero on respawn.
Okay. Well, I'll have that off, but I think it's actually not any of those. Okay,
Oh.
okay. It's when you go to hotkeys, interface, camera grip. There it should say mouse 3. That's the middle mouse.
Hotkeys, advanced hotkeys.
No, not advanced. Just in the standard hotkeys and interface on the right.
On the right, let's see. Camera grip, mouse 3. Yeah. Yeah. Wonder why that's not working. That's strange.
Maybe it's, I don't know
I'll
what
have to
kind of
I'll have
mouse
to
you
play
have.
around with it.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's strange. Yeah, no, cheers again for that anyway.
Yeah, I'll make some notes where we left off in the doc, and yeah, just message me
Yes.
when you want to go for more.
Yes. Will do.
Alright. have a nice day, man.
Yeah, same to you too.
good
Cheers
luck.
again for that.
See ya.
Thank you.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. That was 2 hour coaching. Well, I'm a bit definitely gonna break after this. I will stream some solo queue today. Probably in a bit. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a break now.